Yes, it is your feel-good breakfast show, even feeling gooder because it's a Friday. Welcome back.
Gooder is also a word,
That's not a word.
especially when we think of all the other things that spark some vocal debates. We're talking about our budget speech. In fact, we've got our experts in studio this morning. Simon Bray from Private Property is here to tell us what the budget of our country has an effect on our property markets.
Now, not so long ago, we saw the budget speech take place, and with that, alterations are inevitable. Yet, how does it affect the property market, and should we be concerned with the ramifications? So this morning, to tell us a little bit more as to what we can expect from the property market going into 2016, we have Simon Bray, CEO of Private Property. My man, nice to have you.
Good to see you.
Been a while.
It has, yeah.
So yeah, like, every year when the budget speech takes place, we sit on the edge of our seats or we scour the newspapers, the next day. But what actually does it mean for the property markets?
I mean, this year was no different. I think everyone was on the edge of their seats. Guys were really interested in what Praveen Gordhan had to say. I think this year, more than any other year, we're really looking to rebuild confidence in the South African economy and point to a new and affluent future for South Africans. What it means for the property market is really interesting. Property is a big part of the economic story in South Africa. South Africa is certainly the biggest middle-class economy in Africa, and property really drives the middle class. So we were looking for a budget speech that really restored confidence in the economy and gave us some indicators that property ownership is still a good asset class for people looking to get ahead in our market. And I think we got that. It was a good budget speech from that perspective.
All right, so lay it out for us. What does it mean for the individual? I mean, if we're talking about investing in property, we talk transfer duties, we talk tax. What can we expect going forward?
Yeah, there are many different ways that the budget actually affects property ownership, and the taxes in particular play a big role in the costs of ownership around particular types of property. So I was very pleased to see that this year those taxes didn't move too much. In fact, there was a really great allocation. 62 billion rand has been allocated towards the affordable housing market. So we're going to see a great housing subsidy scheme come in at the lower end of the market. And that's really great because it creates this culture of South Africans wanting to get into the property ladder, starting at the bottom and then growing over the coming years.
I think this is great. I mean, for anybody to be able to call, a certain place their own that they've bought, I mean, it's a great thing. But what does it actually mean? I think a lot of people might be asking the question, going forward, specifically 2016, maybe going into next year, is it a good time to buy, specifically now? Or if you do own a property, should you think about selling maybe?
Well, the great news is there weren't many shocks in the budget. So, transfer duties remained pretty much unchanged. There was a little bit of an adjustment to the top end of the market. Guys who own over 10 million rand properties are going to pay a little bit more in transfer duty. Capital gains tax, which is that profit tax that you get, what you bought the property for and what you sold it for and what that gain is, that's going to be a slightly higher tax than usual. But no real shocks. So otherwise, I'd say it's business as usual for the property market. And with some of the other areas of investing tightening up, shares being a little bit uncertain, the exchange rate certainly being very volatile, it makes property a safer bet. So I think you're going to see a good year for the property market.
All right. So in your words, I mean, good thing, go out there, if you can invest, smartly invest in a piece of property.
Well, that's the key word, right?
Yeah,
smartly.
That's it.
And I think Praveen Gordhan's speech was exactly about that. We've got to tighten our belts as South Africans. Look for the smart investments. And I think that's what a platform like Private Property allows you to do. You can search across the market. You can definitely find the right locations that are performing better than the rest of the market. You can invest in types of property that are low maintenance costs, like sectional title, flats and apartments. So it's about finding the right property investment in the coming years.
Brilliant. Simon, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for all the info, especially when it comes to the budget speech and how that affects property. But at the end of the day, property can be a very wise investment, but make sure it is the right investment for you and your budget. So visit privateproperty.co.za to discover more and learn about the property market.
Whether it's your first apartment in the city, a trendy suburban townhouse, or that dream family home on a golf estate, there's a home for everyone on Private Property.